The first full-size head we did was, everybody's going to say Abraham Lincoln, and it wasn't. It was Confucius. He was actually going to be in a Chinese restaurant at Disneyland and talk to you when you came there to eat. Well, we never built our Chinese restaurant, but instead we did Abraham Lincoln, and that was done for the New York World's Fair. And as you probably know, we did 4 different shows for the New York World's Fair. All 4 of them featured audio animatronics. So it was really that fair that got us going with this new procedure. And you know, Walt Disney was quite smart when it came to things like this, because those were all sponsored attractions at the World's Fair. So essentially, he had other organizations paying for his research and development of audio animatronics. And when the fair was over, he was able to bring them back to Disneyland. So, as I say, he was smart. Okay, before I turn you loose, I did bring a few special things out to share with you, some things that are some of our real treasures here in the archives and that are not normally out on display. We'll start out with Disneyland. If you wanted to go to Disneyland on opening day, July 17th, 1955, could you? No, not unless you had a special invite. It was an invitational press preview that day. So this is the ticket for Disneyland for July 17th. It actually opened at 2:30 in the afternoon, so you didn't have a lot of time to spend visiting Disneyland that day. But on the back, of course, a map. How do you get there? And it says, during the ABC network telecast of the Disneyland preview, Disneyland's gates will be closed from 4:20 to 5:30. If you wish to be present during this telecast, please plan to arrive before 4:15. You know, if this was written today, there'd be all this legalese and likeness rights and all that sort of thing. And this is even rarer than that ticket. This is the parking pass. And it's gummed on the back. So everybody would have licked this thing and put it on their windshield to get it into the parking lot. So, I've seen some of those tickets before coming up for sale on eBay and other places, but I've never seen one of the parking passes. So I think this is probably really scarce. Okay. You couldn't get into Disneyland that day, but if you came back the next day, you could. And how much did it cost to get you in? $25.
5.
$1. And here is ticket number 1. It was bought by Roy O. Disney on opening day. $1 to get in. But you know, the ticket situation was different in those days. You paid for your $1 admission, but all that did was to get you in the gate. Every single attraction in the park had a ticket booth sitting in front of it. And if you wanted to go on Mr. Toad or Autopia or Peter Pan, you had to stand in line in front of a ticket booth and buy a ticket. Well, people started complaining that it was expensive spending a day at Disneyland. I think part of that was that was psychological, because they had to keep reaching in their wallet for money every time they went up to an attraction. So one of our marketing people had the idea of ticket books, and this is the very first version of the Disneyland ticket book. It was $2.50 for a day at Disneyland. And it included your admission ticket on the front, and then A, B, and C tickets. Now, we added the D ticket in 1956, and the E ticket came along in 1959, and that sort of became part of American culture. Everybody learned that an E-ticket ride was sort of the ultimate in thrills. So I'm going to ask you another quiz. What things did we add to Disneyland in 1956 to warrant a D ticket? This is a really hard question.
The Tiki Room?
No. That was quite a bit later. I'll have to tell you this one. Disneyland, of course, was an immediate success. It took only 7 weeks for 1 million people to visit So they knew they had to add more attractions right away. And so by the next year, they added the Skyway, they added Tom Sawyer Island, they added Storybook Land. Not major attractions, but those were to help take care of the crowds that were coming to the park. So now jump forward to 1959, and we added an e-ticket. Now what were the attractions for that?
Matterhorn.
Submarine, and the
Monorail.
And the monorail. Matterhorn, submarine, and the monorail.
Mono.
And very expensive attractions this time. The biggest ones that we'd done at Disneyland. And so Walt felt, well, we're giving them extra value, let's put another ticket in the book. And so that's when the e-ticket started. As far as we went, we never had an F ticket or a G ticket. Who remembers when we stopped using ticket books?
81, 82.
You got it. You got it. 1981, 82. And both those years are good to remember because in 1981, we started offering the passport, but we were still selling the ticket book. So you had a choice. You could buy either the passport or the ticket book. We found that 85% of the people coming up to the ticket booth were buying the passport. And so that's when we decided to phase out the ticket books. But you know what that did also? That phased out that little single admission ticket that you could still buy then. For just a few dollars, you could just go into the park, walk around, shop in the shops, eat in the restaurants. And a lot of locals like to do that. And so they let up a howl when they didn't have those tickets anymore. And that's when we had to start the annual passports to take care of those people that no longer had that simple general admission ticket that they could use to get into Disneyland. This is the one item of Oswald the Lucky Rabbit merchandise that we have, a stencil set. There were only 3 that we're aware of. There was a pinback button and there was a candy bar. I don't think we'll ever find the candy bar. Maybe someday we'll find the button. But this stencil set is the only Oswald merchandise item that we have that dates from Walt's period of doing Oswald. Of course, Walt lost the rights to Oswald, and Walter Lantz took it over, and he continued doing Oswald merchandise for years. But this is the only one that came out during the Disney years, and still has all the stencils and crayons and everything inside. I found this at an antique toy show in Glendale back in the 70s.
Wow.
Oh, I'm sure you all know this, but when Walt lost the rights to Oswald, he had to come up with a new character, being Mickey Mouse. Look at this rabbit here. Put round ears on him. What do you have? He didn't have to work too hard to come up with a new character, did he? So what was the first Mickey Mouse cartoon
Plain Crazy.
released?
Steamboat Willie.
This is the original script for Steamboat Willie. Of iWorks would have done the drawings, the thumbnail sketches over on the right, and Walt Disney himself would have typed the text here on the left.
I have that somewhere.
Well, this is one of our major treasures. But these 2 items I have never shown to any groups before, so you're the first to see these. Can you tell what that one's from? This is from Plain Crazy, one of the original backgrounds from Plain Crazy. So this would have been one of the very first Mickey Mouse backgrounds ever painted here at the studio. And I also brought out one of the better known scenes from Steamboat Willie, and again, the original background.